Alright, so we got an awesome fight here. It's Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira. Alright, so Charles Oliveira has a 2-inch height advantage and a 5-inch reach advantage. He's also on an 8-fight win streak, which is very impressive in the lightweight division. Michael Chandler coming over from Bellator on a bit of a win streak himself. Made a big splash in his debut against Dan Hooker. And that's why he's fighting for the title. It's, easy as that. He's come from a good camp. He is a good fighter. He's a very good fighter. That's why he's fighting for the title as well. And his last 4 fights have ended inside 3 minutes, so that's probably why as well. He gets his job done very quickly, he is very exciting, and same with Charles Oliveira, like he finishes fights constantly. 90% of Charles Oliveira's fights end inside the distance, and around 75% of Chandler's career fights also don't make the cards as well, so I'm guessing this one probably doesn't go to decision. Alright, so let's break it down. So the striking for these guys, so for Chandler, he comes in with that forward pressure, in and out movement. His stance is basically side on, but he comes with that in and out movement. He's looking to put the pressure on you, put you near the cage, keep you on the outside of the 2 octagon lines pretty much. And he is very linear with his movement. He's either going straight forward at 180 degrees or straight back at 180 degrees. For Charles Oliveira, he throws a lot of stuff down the pipe. He's coming from that Muay Thai foundation. He seems to be very fundamental with his Muay Thai. But one thing he does do is he'll take the forward pressure to you as well. He doesn't like taking a back step either. And he's not worried about the takedown, so he's not worried about walking onto a takedown. That's why he's able to walk opponents down. And as I said before, everything is pretty much down the pipe. Teeps to the body, straight right, 1-2. When opponents do get close, or if they decide to clinch up with him, he'll look for the Muay Thai plum clinch, look for those knees to the body, also slashing elbows up top. But what he really needs to watch out for is the straight right, the overhand right for Michael Chandler. That's Michael Chandler's moneymaker. And Charles Oliveira, he stands very tall and his head's always on the center line. Also, he doesn't like taking a backward step, so he's always going to be wanting to come forward. That's just his style. So he can be caught in range after he throws his own offense, since he's not going to step back after he lands his combination. So he's there to be hit if you're a counter striker, which I think Michael Chandler is going to be looking for. And when he does throw the right hand or the right hand variation that he throws, he will go for a left hook after that. It's one of his favorite combinations. That's what he dropped Dan Hooker with. That's what he caught Brent Primus with. And I think that's one of his favorite combinations. Also, he throws a lot of jabs, straights to the body. He likes to, wear at the body a little bit and then go up top. Kind of sets up his shots that way. But a few things Michael Chandler does that I'm not huge on is that he will back up in a straight line. As I said before, backs up at 180 degrees. And if Charles can push him back, then he's going to be backing up onto the fence and Charles is going to be looking for the takedowns. Also, his lead hand is low the majority of the time, which leads to getting caught by right hands of orthodox opponents. Also, he overextends on his 2 quite often, especially when he goes to the body, tries to reach for it a little too much, and he can overextend himself and leave himself off balance, open for counters from his opponent. Also, when he has trouble defending leg kicks, he kind of turns away from him. He's got a very wide base, so he takes the full brunt of leg kicks, and he doesn't check them. He pretty much just turns away from them, which just kind of offers his calf at a better angle for his opponent. So, yeah, I think he has trouble defending leg kicks. I think that's with his stance, and I don't think that's going to get better over time. Like, he's 35 now. I get that he's very driven, and he's a very ambitious dude, but it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, you know what I mean? But also, if the striker's not working out for Chandler, he can revert to his wrestling. He had a very accomplished wrestling career in college. He was a Division I NCAA. And a very good wrestling game as a whole. Like, he's very hard to take down. And his pressure game on the feet opens up the takedown entries against the fence. And that's what he likes to look for. He likes to set up the double leg on the fence with a straight or an overhand right. And that's pretty much what Dan Hooker was looking for. He was expecting the shot. And then Chandler was faking the level change, I believe, quite a bit. And then he went with the overhand right, which kind of looks like he's using that overhook for the double leg. But yeah, he throws it up top, and that's what catches opponents off guard. But yeah, he likes to keep them outside the 2 octagon lines, and that sets up his shots, and that sets up his takedown entries as well. But yeah, he also has a very nice blast double in the open. If you give the body lock to him, he'll look to suplex. He's very strong from the back body lock position. And so is Charles. Like, when Charles gets in the body lock position, he has very nice inside leg trips. He'll go for mat returns as well. He likes to duck under, get into the clinch, go for that reactive double if it's there. If it's not, he'll just look for the clinch takedowns. But he's very strong in the body lock position as well. And you don't want Charles Oliveira on top of you. Like, you saw what he did to Tony Ferguson, just dominated him positionally on the mat. And he's very heavy on top with his hip pressure. He really doesn't give you much time, doesn't give you much space, doesn't give you much time to breathe. He secures the back body mount with a triangle, tries to suck the life out of you with that as well. He's got that wiry frame. But yeah, he's constantly looking for sub attempts in scrambles. So if you scramble, he's constantly looking for the guillotine when you're shooting. He's constantly looking for an arm bar when you're sticking your arm out. And what I've noticed from Charles is that usually his choke arm is his right arm. So if you're Michael Chandler, you don't want to shoot on that side because that's generally where he finds the sub. But both these guys have very good takedown defense as well. For different styles of takedown defense, but both effective. And for Charles Oliveira, it's more of a submission-based type of takedown defense, the submission threat base. So he'll use a Darce grip, a anaconda grip once the opponent's posture is broken, and then he'll look to snap them down, get on top position from there. And for Michael Chandler, he likes to stuff the head, look to get in the front head pinch, and then look to reverse takedown attempts, try and flip the opponent over. And then once he gets on top, he does have very good positional awareness on the mat, and he's very heavy on top once he does get on top of you. He likes to keep opponents near the cage, and likes to keep them kind of parallel to the cage so they can't wall walk, so he'll try to keep you pretty much aligned with the cage, like your body aligned to the cage fence, and then he'll look to tee off from there with ground and pound. He will posture up, land right hand bombs, short elbows in the guard, and for Charles Oliveira, his only defense on bottom, like once he gets reversed on bottom, is pretty much up kicks and throwing up hasty arm bars and triangles. He will wall for a leg lock if the opponent is standing up in the guard, and that creates a scramble and allows him to get back to his feet, but those techniques give your opponent opportunities to pass your guard and end up in a more dominant position. And as I said, Chandler is heavy on top, but Chandler, he can attack subs and guard passes a little too hastily, like especially when he wants to take the back. He will just pretty much just jump onto it, doesn't put his leg hooks in. He can, try and advance position a little bit too hastily. And sometimes he'll be too high on the back and he'll just get shucked off, and then now he's on bottom, and you don't want to have that happen against Charles Oliveira. So how these guys win fights, so for Charles Oliveira, he's got very good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on top, and his striking is improving every fight in my opinion, and he has very good takedowns as well. He's very good at getting the fight where he wants it to be. Usually Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys don't have the best wrestling unless they move to a big gym in the States, but Charles Oliveira's wrestling is very good. And for Michael Chandler, he's got considerable power in both hands, especially his right hand. He's got one punch knockout power, and no one has hurt Dan Hooker in the UFC like that. Like, he's never been, I don't know if he's ever been dropped. Like, Edson dropped him with like a bunch of body shots, but like, I don't know if he's ever been dropped before that. And no one's hurt him like that and been able to finish him. And he also has good cardio as well. He's got good pacing for 5 rounds. You wouldn't think it with his physique, but he does. And that physique's not just for show, like, it's not show muscles. He's very physically strong. And when you see him on top and in scrambles, you can tell he's very physically strong for the weight class. And he's got good submission defense as well. When he's on top, he's hard to submit when he's on top of you. So for how these guys lose fights, so for Michael Chandler, it's the striking tendencies that we discussed before, and also I'm a little bit skeptical of his chin, and that's not getting better with age. And he does seem to get hurt quite a fair bit with some... When you do hit him clean, he does seem to go into a bit of a state. So for Charles Oliveira, how he loses is the grappling tendencies that we discussed before, and also there's a bit of flakiness, there's a bit of, he wilts after pretty much any type of adversity, really. So pass to victory for these two. For Dubronx, look for the low calf kick. Pretty much throw everything down the pipe, which he generally does anyway, so I don't really have to say it, but, Chandler is there to be hit. He moves in a straight line, back and forth, so he is there to be hit down the pipe. Also some straight knees as he's going to the body. That's what I thought Dan Hooker would catch him with, or at least throw. So I think you should throw a few straight knees as well. But try and take him down. Look to work your submission game, work your top game from there. And for Michael Chandler, Look for overhand rights or straight rights. He stands very tall, doesn't move his head. I think you'll be able to hit him a solid amount of times if you just keep going to the well, honestly. Look to rip the body hard if he tries to clinch up with that Muay Thai plum clinch. Look to really dig to the body there. And follow him down if you do knock him down. Don't be afraid to go into his guard. But yeah, if he does offer you top position, then absolutely take it. Get on top, look for elbows, hard straight rights. Be opportunistic with ground and pound when he goes for leg locks, or when he's going for leg locks and you're standing guard, or if he's going for triangles and you can slip out of it, get into side control. Look to damage him from top position. I mean, if Paul Felder can do it in top position, then I think you can get some serious damage off. Alright, so how I see the fight going. So Michael Chandler, he's a very good fighter. It's a good matchup to showcase his complete game, because Do Bronx, he's a very complete fighter. He's very quickly becoming one of the most well-rounded fighters in the sport. Like, only knock I have on him is that I've seen him quit so many times in the past, so that's the only thing I can really say about Charles. Both these guys like to be the one pressuring their opponents. I believe Chandler will be the one to eventually take it to Charles instead of the other way around. I think Charles will start with the pressure, and then once he feels the power of Chandler, he might start taking the back foot. On the feet, I think Chandler is very easy to read, but God, does he have that equalizer. He has that power in his hands that can absolutely, put your lights out. So you got to respect him on the feet. However, he is quite susceptible to leg kicks with that wide stance, and he doesn't check them at all. And that is Oliveira's probably favourite technique on the feet. That's the one he goes to most often. And I think he can do some serious damage with that. Another thing about this fight is that Michael Chandler, he's very good on top. Like, he's much better at getting damage off on top than Kevin Lee, and he has much better cardio, so he'll be able to be more aggressive with the ground and pound, unlike Kevin Lee, who was very trying to be conservative with his energy and wasn't really throwing anything once he got Charles Oliveira down. I'm talking more about how Paul Felder was against Charles. When Paul Felder got Charles down, or Charles got him down, and somehow Paul Felder ended up on top in a scramble or something like that, Felder was able to really punish him. And for that reason, I don't think it's going to look similar to the Lee fight, where Oliveira was pretty much controlling Kevin off his back, and Kevin wasn't really offering too much on top. Charles is quite vulnerable to heavy ground and pound off his back, as we mentioned before, the grappling tendencies that he has, and that he leaves himself open. So I think this will look more like the Paul Felder versus Charles Oliveira fight, instead of the Kevin Lee versus Charles Oliveira fight, where Chandler could find himself in some sticky situations early with Charles on his back, but slowly but surely he gets more comfortable in the guard of Do Bronx, and he's able to stand up in his guard and start raining down bombs and getting some serious damage on top. But if Charles gets on top, I know Chandler has good submission defense, but this guy will grab your neck and take it like it's nothing. But on the feet, I think the biggest factor of this fight will be the power of Michael Chandler. I can just totally see Charles just absolutely wilting after the first punch that Chandler lands, or his facial expression just absolutely changing after the first punch of Chandler. I think this is the most powerful striker that Charles has ever faced, and I don't think he's going to like it at all, honestly. I think that he's going to revert back to his old ways, and we see the flakiness come out of Charles after a few bombs from Chandler. And I think Chandler's going to get his work done early. I think it's going to be round one. He either puts him out cold, or Charles just waits for Herb Dean or whoever's refereeing to pull Michael Chandler off him, and the fight is stopped like that. So that's how I think the fight's going to go. We'll have a look at the betting lines. Alright, so I do think Chandler does get the KO in round one. I think he wins around 55 to 60% of the time in this fight. And a few bets that I was looking at is Michael Chandler at pick'em odds, or plus money. Also, these props aren't out yet, but I'm looking at Chandler round one at like plus 500 or $6. Hopefully I get that price. Or Chandler rounds 1 and 2. So if Chandler finishes in rounds 1 or 2, if I can get him at plus 300 or $4, I'd probably hit that as well. So yeah, that's the bets I'm looking at, and I do think Chandler gets his work done early. Again.